Some of the assignments in this class ask you to go into a document. So a reading I'm asking you to do. It could be a story, it could be an article, and do annotations. And I've come up with this idea kind of as an alternative to what we see in many online classes with the traditional discussion post thing where you write a discussion post to reply to two classmates. Honestly, those replies are usually uninspired. I mean, it's obvious that students hate it, and I have to say, instructors also don't love reading them a lot of times if there isn't a lot of like voice and interest that's been brought to the writing of them. And more in the last few years, honestly, let's be straight up. Students are going to the AI and they're copying straight out of their, Chat or Claude or Copilot, whoever you love the most. Just like having it generate text and copying it and pasting it. Had a surprising number of students who have done their own original work, and then a classmate comes in and copies it and puts it into like a paraphraser or something so that it takes an already written post and changes it up just enough to make it seem like it's a different post, and then they post their classmates' paraphrased work, which is gross. So I've tried to come up with a way of us doing the work that maybe makes you not want to run straight to AI, but where it's like, let's have you actually like interact with the text. Let's move away from some of that discussion post stuff and the replies to classmates. And, occasionally in an assignment, I might put you in a group or with a partner where you do reply to each other in the annotations. But there's also the idea of just having you go into a document and add your own thoughts, reactions, notes, the considerations that go through your mind while you're reading. And just in case you're like, how does she want us to do it? This whole kind of idea. I have a little sample here, and I'm going to kind of show you, how I could go through this document. So it's a bird watching essay. It's having a moment. We need to talk about it. Okay. So the actual text of the essay is here. Let me drag my face out of the way a little bit, friends. And I dropped some annotations in so that you didn't have to sit here watching this video and watch me like type, okay? So the essay starts here. The article, I guess we should say, starts here. Something is shifting. The numbers tell the story. Nearly 100 million Americans now watch birds, more than double the number from just 8 years ago. The Merlin Bird ID app, and so right there you can see what I did was I highlighted that bit of text. And I went off and I wrote a comment in the margins. My husband has this on his phone. We love the Merlin app. We use it every time we go for a hike. I love that it can ID bird songs. So even if you can't see the bird, and get your phone to look at it, you can still learn what it is you're hearing. So I've dropped like a little reaction and a thought right there. If I were working in a group with this, there's a place where someone else in the group could reply and might be like, hey, I use the Merlin app too, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you can see how you just easily like what's going through your mind while you read. So you highlight a little bit, give a reaction. So the Merlin Bird app has seen a 500% increase in users since 2020. Birders in the United States now spend over $107 billion annually. The average age of birders has dropped from 49 to 47, with young people ages 16 to 34 joining in unprecedented numbers. So I also I highlighted that last little bit, and I drop a note here. So here's the comment you can see. There seems to be a cultural shift where younger people are leaning into analog activities since the promise of the internet has failed us. Like that whole democratized free open space where we could share ideas has absolutely been corrupted by capitalism and tawdriness. So it seems like more and more people are like, let's have a board game night. And let's do something where we are unplugged, right? Okay, so as the article goes on, but it's more than just statistics. The Listers movie, a documentary about birding, has 1.6 million views on YouTube. I highlighted that and I dropped a little note and I said, I watched this. I watched it a few months ago. And I highly recommend it. It's so funny and it's ultimately very moving and impactful. So y'all, there's a tip. Go watch that. The Buffalo Bills NFL team posts videos of their players discussing birding to their 2.3 million followers. On TikTok, young women are making birding content go viral. And so I highlighted this and I dropped a note here and I said, ooh, we see here how even analog pursuits are folded into the digital world. But honestly, it's digital sharing that's teaching us about things we never would have known about before. I will always love the internet for the way it's expanded my world. So you can see that I'm just like, as I'm reading, anything where I'm like, I can add a little thought here. I can add a little thing. I just highlight it and then I drop a comment. If this were a group situation, then we could reply to each other and have a conversation this way, right? So, it goes on, and it's getting a little more into kind of like the why behind this birding boom, kind of. And I have to say, like, I really love this sentence right here. We can help people understand what bird watching actually is. So I hit, see how I'm going to highlight? I highlight it and I hit add a new comment. It's a portal to presence, not just a pastime. And for me, I'm like, ooh, I can even type ooh. This feels like the thesis of the article. Like we're going to explore this idea of being present. I'm interested to see where the writer is going to take this. So once I've typed my comment, got to make sure I hit that blue arrow and post it. Okay. So all you have to do, if this is like new to you, you just highlight whatever bit of text you want, and then you get a little pop-up screen. You just click new comment. Okay. And so you can do that throughout the document. And sometimes I might require you and say, like, make sure you do at least 6 annotations. Make sure you do at least 10 annotations. Or, honestly, the more you do, the better, because it's also a way of making you a better reader. Because I know sometimes when you have an assigned reading, you just like, after a little bit, you just zone straight out. You're like, and when you are kind of making yourself be present in a way where you would add these annotations in, it keeps you connected to the reading, and it keeps you like thinking, because it's asking you to be an active reader instead of a passive reader. So if you are someone where you're like, yeah, I'm going to actually mark this article all up all the way through, and I'm not going to get hung up on counting how many annotations I've done, that's beauty. But if you also are like, I don't even want to be taking this class and I hate every assignment we have to do, I just want to get it over with. She says we have to do 6 annotations. Fine, do your 6. Do what you need to do. So you go through the article, and anything that jumps out, you would highlight it and drop the comment. And then you would want to make sure that you save it at the end. Just trying to show you the nice little birdies. And then if you're asked to upload it into assignments, you would turn it into me there. Sometimes it might be a shared document in OneDrive. It depends on what class you're in, because I'm doing this in lots of different classes. But the whole idea is, let's come up with a new format for engaging in, where you can demonstrate that you are absorbing ideas and that you can do some sort of like analytical thinking in response to them. And it can be very like chatty and just gut level, like, hey, I watched that movie on YouTube. But it also can be more like, you see how I'm a little bit leaning into bird watching is offering us something that's kind of a counterpoint to the internet right now, right? So we're getting into analytical thinking there. And so my comments are like, you're seeing that I'm like taking in and I'm doing my own kind of processing of what this author has written. And I'm trying to, I'm indicating to anyone who's reading this that I am making sense of the ideas and the concepts. And that's really what we're after. And also, it's almost like you're getting a little bit of writing experience too. You're being asked to write, but not in that way that is so kind of like tedious and challenging, where your teacher, says, open a blank document, now write. And you're thinking, this is intimidating and I don't know what to say. At least with this kind of format, you're given the ideas and you're asked to write in response to them. So reader response is a really great way to practice your writing skills. So you might also notice that I don't require word count limits on the annotations that you do, because I'm going to entrust your good, the good attitude and the good faith approach you will bring to the assignment. And please don't just go through and be like, yeah, good, like this part. So don't be kind of, short of words and just like bam, bam, bam. And by the time you've done your required 6 annotations, you've written 18 words. We are looking for a flow of ideas. We are looking for some like sentences, but I also don't want to spend the rest of my little life trying to count how many words you put in a margin comment in a document. Because I would like to hope that you would bring your best self to something that you have signed up for, paid money for, agreed to do. And so like lean into this stuff. Lean into these notes, these annotations. If you need to write some paragraphs in just one of the notes in response to something, go for it. If you're like, okay, y'all, now I want to tell you a story because this line in the article made me think of something. Tell your story in the comment, and then go down and do the next annotation, the next comment, the next, so I'm hoping to please that that you don't go at all to AI for these assignments. Why would you need to? Why would you need to? Don't answer that question if you're going to anyhow. Let's save our planet. If you love Lake Superior, let's stop using up precious water. Let's stop having data centers built. Let's stop having electrical bills compounded to 500% of what they used to be. Let's stop having people's homes bought out from underneath them to build the infrastructure to support the AI. Like, let's not use AI, friends. And I know a lot of you are going to nevertheless, but perhaps, please, I'm begging you, not for these kinds of assignments. Okay. Good chat, besties.